Recording in progress.
One minute. Good morning. I show 9:30.
Good morning. We will call the regular board meeting of the Western Municipal Water District to order. And if you would please begin with a roll call, Tammy.
Thank you. Good morning. Director Torres. Director Denstedt.
Good morning, I'm present.
Good morning. Director Roten.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. Director Rizvi.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. President Gardner.
I am here as well.
Thank you. President Gardner, you do have a quorum today.
Great, thank you very much. Brings us to the flag salute, which today will be led by Nikki Hernandez. Did you want to do an introduction, Mr. Miller?
Well, Nikki's,
I can do
how long
that.
have you been here now? She's in our GIS group and does great work
Yeah.
keeping that in order and developing new applications all the time.
That's right. So I'm Nikki Hernandez, just as Craig just introduced, and I'm an application specialist in the Water Resources Department, and I've been here for about 6 years now. If you please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thanks, Nikki.
Okay, this is the time for public comments. Tammy, did we receive any comments by the deadline yesterday, or is there anybody in the room or online who has indicated they would like to speak?
We received no written comments, and I see no requests to speak at this time, and there were no prior requests.
Okay, thank you. We'll close public comment and move to presentations.
Our presentation's going to be delayed.
Okay.
I've heard. It'll be here later, but it'll be here.
Okay. We will
And you'll
move-
clearly recognize it when it gets here.
Sounds good to me. Does it do leak detection by chance?
No.
Darn.
No, but we have very skilled professionals that do that.
Yes, we do.
If we'd like to call them in, we could do that, but
It may not be quite as much fun. So we'll move then to the consent calendar, which appears to be just the minutes of the June 7th meeting.
So moved. I'll second.
We have a motion second. Any comments, discussion, verifying no public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, would you please do a roll call vote?
Thank you. Director Torres?
Here.
Yes.
Aye or nay?
aye.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh,
voting,
sorry. Yes.
Thank you. Director Denstedt?
Aye.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Do we have anything to add to the agenda?
Nothing to add today.
Okay, thank you. Brings us to our action agenda. First item, 8A. Looks like it's going to be you, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, Candy Judd is going to do the presentation for us. Candy, come on up.
Okay.
This item, we ran through our exec committee and got confirmation from the exec committee to move it on to the board for consideration. So there's several positions and adjustments that need to be made to the salary table, and the reason that this has to be a board item is because the board has to approve the salary grade table. So Candy will walk through that, and then the action will be to approve the salary grade table, hopefully. We'll see. Thank
Yes.
you, Candy.
Good morning, President Gardner, board members, staff, and our guests who may be here or online. It's good to be back in front of you this morning. As Craig mentioned, the salary grade table is an annual event. We bring it to the board every year, specifically at this time, because we need to meet our obligation to provide the cost of living adjustment for our employees. This year's 4%. And so that's added into the salary grade table for each position that we currently have on the table. In addition, we take this opportunity to look at our strategic priorities and determine, do we need to make any requests applicable for new positions? So we'll talk about those in a minute. We're also looking at, do we have title changes, reclassifications, new positions to add? And those are some of the items you have in front of you today. Specifically, we're looking at requesting 3 additional positions, one for engineering, and that's to support the capital improvement projects that you see come before you constantly. We have a lot of those going on, a lot of development. Another position is another accountant in order to manage the grants that we are obtaining, and which is really great for Western. But we need somebody who is very adept at managing those grant funds that come in. And the third position that we're requesting is a development services supervisor in order to support the engineering function for development and make sure that we're getting all of those new developments through our systems appropriately. So those are the new positions. In addition, we have some title changes, which are specific to the Internet Technology Specialist. We decided to move away from Internet Technology and encompass Information Services. So it's much more broad. Information Services gives a better overview of what our folks do in those departments. So that's a title change. And same for our Meter Service Operations Technician. That's a mouthful. We have moved those folks. They've been in the more on the customer service area, so we appropriately want to retitle them to be customer service field representatives rather than meter service operations technicians. So new classifications, again, we're asking for a customer service supervisor, which it's not a headcount increase, it's an exchange of a current vacancy. And we're asking for a development services supervisor. And then the reclassifications would be a senior engineering technician to reclass into the development services supervisor. And our safety officer, we would like to reclass him to safety manager. And that rounds out the requests that we are making along with that cost of living adjustment to our salary grade table, which is included in the packet. And we appreciate your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions or turn it back over to Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Candy. And, as a reminder, this is a good problem to have, that we're generating so many grants, we have to now keep up with the building of the projects. And we need staff resources to do that. So, we're earning more in grants than the cost of the position, and then the development services position is covered by external funding. So this isn't a big increase to our budget, and we need the staffing to get these projects done badly. And it doesn't really come to the board's attention, but there's a huge backside to the grants. The grant compliance is very onerous. And, we actually even have, I think you've probably heard Melissa talk about it before, but, we actually, there's certain level of grant that we won't go after because it's not enough money to actually justify how much it costs us to get the grant and maintain the grant. So, we've been very fortunate to get very nice grants, so that hasn't been an issue. We're getting quite a bit of money, but we have to have the resources to, make sure we can follow through with what we've promised the granting agencies. So with that, I'll open up to any questions from the board.
No question, motion to approve.
Second?
We do not. Thank you. Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Denstedt?
Aye.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Next item, 8B, is to award a 2-year professional services contract for 3 companies. Mr. Miller?
Yeah, thank you. Derek is on Zoom. Yep, see him down there. And he's going to present these. These both B and C went to the engineering committee for a discussion. So let's start off with A. This is something that is really helpful for our staff to have these kind of on-call contracts so that we can move very quickly. So Derek's going to update you on the level of those contracts. We've been increasing these annually because development services did not slow down during the pandemic. And we see a huge amount of activity. So Derek, over to you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So this item is for our inspection services for development and our CIP projects. Every 2 years or so, staff solicit proposals from firms to provide these inspection services on a time and materials basis. Western cannot always predict how much inspection will be required in any given year due to variability of residential and commercial construction. Staff is requesting for each annual construction inspection contract $800,000 per year for the next 2 years. Nearly all of these costs will be paid for by developer and capital improvement projects. We have not seen a reduction in development activity. In fact, it seems to be still increasing. In the last year, we've seen a 40% increase in construction inspection deposits. If for any reason the inspection work is not needed to this level that we're proposing, Western will not pay for beyond what is needed. The issue is that we need to have sufficient authorization on each of these contracts so that we do not hold up construction work. Now, staff solicited proposals in March. We received 11 proposals. The proposals were rated based on inspector resumes, company qualifications, work experience, references, safety training programs, and hourly rates. 3 firms were selected as submitting the most qualified proposals. These were Krager and Stewart, Left Coast Consultants, and Valley Construction Management. Staff is requesting that each of these 4 firms be awarded a 2-year contract for up to $800,000 per year. And now I know in the audience, we have present in person from Krager and Stewart, Chuck Krieger, who's president. We have from Left Coast Consultants, we have Tim Manning, also the president. And from Valley Construction, we have Corey Kessler. And Corey Kessler is there to wave. I now invite any questions, and they're certainly available for questions as well.
Okay, are there board questions for Derek? Seeing none, would any of the vendors want to address the board? You're not required to, but, okay, looking then for.
How about wave at us? Let us know who you are and that you're here. Thank you. Appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, thank you very much, and we've worked with you before and quite successfully, so looking forward. I would look for a motion then, please.
I'll move to approve. Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Tammy, would you please do a roll call vote?
Yes.
Director Dennstedt?
Aye.
Director Roden?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Great, thank you. Brings us then to 8C. Mr. Miller?
All right, 8C. So this is the approval of the purchase of water capacity from Eastern Municipal Water District over across the freeway at the March Base area. As you heard in committee, we've been working on this for a really long time. So there's a huge step for Western, for Eastern, and for the base and all the development that's going on over there. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Derek. Derek, can you speak up a little bit more in your presentation? Your sound was a little muffled. Thanks, Derek. Go ahead. You're on mute.
Derek, there you
Okay,
go.
thank you again. Today, I present before you a proposal to enhance the water supply infrastructure to the development areas around the March Air Reserve Base, as well as reinforce the base's supply. Our current infrastructure operates on a single primary water supply with a rated capacity of 5 cubic feet per second. This has shown limitations, especially during times of peak demand. In cases of any failure, our current backup interconnection to Eastern cannot meet the base's pressure requirements, which would lead to prolonged and disruptive outages. Given the ongoing and anticipated development east of the freeway, we have recognized the pressing need for an additional water supply. Estimates suggest an increase of 4.5 CFS for maximum day demand and up to 8.9 CFS for emergency fire or emergency or fire response scenarios. Responding to this necessity, our principal developer, March One LLC, teamed up with Webb and Associates to prepare a design for the interconnection that fulfills these requirements. And in 2015, Western Water entered into an agreement with Eastern Municipal Water District to secure additional water supply capacity, crucial for development and system redundancy. In 2022, we committed to purchasing an initial 0.5 CFS of capacity from Eastern, costing $1.7 million approximately for the K4 logistic warehouse. The proposal at hand is to proceed with the purchase of an additional 4.0 CFS capacity, estimated to cost $6,969,310. Though substantial, this cost has been meticulously calculated and is subject to annual reviews for fairness and market conformity. In other words, it's adjusted each year by our index. The next adjustment is on July 1st. We hope to make the payment before that date. In March 2021, we embarked on a partnership with Meridian Park and Irvine Pipeline Company to commence construction of the interconnection. Now the project is drawing to completion, and the next step is to finalize the purchase of additional capacity from the Eastern system. So we were fortunate in that we obtained a federal grant of $4.3 million from the Office of Local Defense Community Cooperation, which is designated for this interconnection. This grant accounts for a 50% cost match of the capacity and necessitates finalizing the purchase by October of 2023. We've explored options of purchasing less capacity, but we've decided the best way to maximize the grant and to avoid cost increases due to those annual inflation. We've decided now is the time to buy the full capacity. In conclusion, I'm seeking your approval for the purchase of an additional 4.0 cubic feet per second capacity at a cost of approximately $6.9 million, aligning with the terms outlined in the interagency agreement with Eastern. I now invite any of your questions.
Are there board questions? Seeing none.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Director.
Okay, so I think I'm understanding this, that of the 6 million and change, 4 million and change, and not to minimize those numbers because they're big, is covered by a grant. And then I think I'm understanding in here that any other costs that we have to put out for this now in order to facilitate the project and the purchase will be recouped later through capacity charges and fees by the new projects that are developed. Is that the case?
Yes, thank you for
go ahead,
pointing that out. Yes, the way that this works out is that the development in the area is paying for this additional capacity because they're the ones who need it. They're the ones going to benefit from it. The grant is offsetting that in a combination of paying for that emergency supply as well as any capacity that the base might need in the future. And so what happens is every time someone requires more capacity, we sell them a meter. The meter has a capacity charge associated with it depending on the size, and that would be used to pay back for this charge that we're getting from Eastern.
Okay, so I'm just thinking ahead. Will those new development folks be aware that their costs were offset by this grant? Because I think that's a really positive thing that's happening. Or does
I
that
would
just
agree,
kind of get buried?
No, there are three major developers in this area. March One LLC is the one who is obligated to make this capacity, buy into this capacity, because they're the majority of the growth. And they're well aware that we received the grant, as well as as well as Lewis, which is operating in this area as Meridian Park. They're well aware of it. And the only other one that we'll have to reach out to is basically the transitional facility that's called US Vets, that they'll be doing some connections, and we'll certainly make them aware of the fact that we have received these grants to offset the cost.
I'm pretty sure they're all aware at this point. already.
For sure, some are aware,
Yeah.
because we've sat down with them and told them that we're doing this. And you've heard Derek talk about the NEPA requirements that slowed down the connection. We had to do NEPA, that's the federal side of CEQA. So when we got a federal grant, that kicked us into a requirement to do NEPA. So we had to sit down with the developers and tell them that we had to wait on their project to complete NEPA. So they're well aware of it. And it is going to be a very beneficial thing
Yeah.
to the March JPA and their development of the area, as well as the base.
Okay, thank you.
It's a really good news story.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we were sharing the good news.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Tammy, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Was
I
that,
would look
was
then
that a
for a
motion over there?
Certainly, I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Staff recommendation.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Tammy, would you please do a roll call vote?
Thank you. Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Dinstedt?
Aye.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, directors.
Thanks, Derek. Brings us to General Consul's report. Mr. General Consul,
Good morning, nothing to report.
you're very efficient. Welcome back. Mr. General Manager, have you a report?
I can't let this opportunity pass. I will do my regular SB 366 update. You're all well aware that it passed the Senate unanimously, which was great news. Now we go to the Assembly side. We will be on July 11th at 9 a.m. in front of the Assembly Parks and Wildlife Committee. So that's the next hurdle. We got to get over that. We've had enormous support for the bill. I don't know, we're over 100 supporters, Sarah. I don't know if, we're not keeping an accurate count, but it's getting way up there.
We're currently just over 120 official pledge supporters with more than 200 on the interest list.
What you're seeing is, so you'll recall that we have some really good co-sponsors with CMUA. So CMUA runs the bill. Senator Caballero is the author. She's taken on several co-authors, including Senator Roth, Senator Ciarto, Assemblyman Asali. So that's really good. I'm forgetting two, Rubio and I'm sorry. Ochoa.
Yes.
From San Bernardino. Sorry, squirrel, side note. We hooked her because we were both speakers at the San Bernardino Valley brand launch. And so she heard me talk about it while I was sitting next to her on the podium. She says, I'm going to co-sponsor this or co-author. It was great. The other thing we've got the CSAC, so it's the State Counties Association that is a co-sponsor along with SEEB, and SEEB is labor and environment. So we have some really great sponsors to bring together a lot of different horsepower. We also have the Chambers, the Southwest Ledge, Rebuild SoCal Partnership, which is Southern California Labor Associations. That's kind of the local entity representing labor. Ag entities, statewide ag entities, industry associations, and obviously a ton of water agencies, including both Aqua and Metropolitan. So big momentum, but you know, you never know what's going to happen at these committees. So we're staying on top of it. We got a lot going on in the background. You may ask, well, who's not supporting? So NRDC is not supporting. They've provided comments. We've made some amendments. The EJ community has asked for some amendments. We think we're working that out. You know, it's everyone's opportunity to get what they want in there. But when we talk to the EJ communities, we're like, you know, you're going to get hurt the worst if we don't have enough water. So you should be huge supporters of this. And of course, the bill is, it's trying to get water for the environment. And so these environmental groups that are not on board, obviously, you know, they want to get some modifications in there that really benefit them. But they don't have a really strong argument against it because we've invited them to the table. Come into the tent and tell us what you want for the environment. And so I don't think they have a really loud voice, but we're continuing to work with them, and that's where all the water agencies' lobbyists that are all on board are all working this, and CMUA, Danielle Blassett-Hayden from CMUA is really focusing on the opponents right now so that we can get through this committee. So lots going on.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody being invited to come and provide testimony at that hearing?
Yes. The way it works is the hearing committee has rules about who can testify, and so the testimony is going to come from the bill sponsors. So we can't do a call for all water agencies to stand up at the podium. So CMUA has that covered. And we've got our engines revving to do that, and we keep getting pulled back because the committees have rules. So you can share that with your other electeds.
Nope, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, I see that. We'll get to them right after our announcements. Med inspection tour, we did our med inspection tour. I'll leave it to our directors to give you more highlights, but we had great attendance on that. There's a lot of events coming up in the next week. The MODOC policy dinner is tomorrow night in Costa Mesa. I'll be attending that with Tim, and I think Michael's going to go with us. Ed Ring and Director Denstad's going to go. Ed Ring is the featured speaker from the California Policy Center, so that'll be very interesting. Staff has, the EMT has another all-day leadership training next week. We also are doing our staff team building event on Thursday, and then next Thursday is the WRCOG General Assembly, and we'll have several people in attendance at that. One fun thing that you've heard about, and Grace is going to tell us more about it, but we did attend the Regional Emmy Awards on Saturday. We were nominated for our series. Are we going to play one of our series? 2. All right, we got 2. So Grace, over to you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here to share the news of some recent awards we got for our drought campaign. Before we play the video, I did want to remind everyone that we completed 10 videos within this campaign over the course of 9 months that followed the same character. We put these on our social media pages, but we also used it for our ad campaign that we invested in heavily last July through October, and that received 1.3 million impressions during that time frame when the drought was real hot and heavy. So we're happy that the drought's over, but really sad to leave this character behind for now. So go ahead and play the videos.
Babe, what's going on with the dishes?
I don't know, babe. We're in a drought. I don't know what to do. Can you figure it out?
Drought. Ugh. Yeah, I have an idea.
How'd you get the dishes clean?
I figured it out.
personally attest that that actually works.
This is the life.
I really am the boss.
That's right. You're the boss. But hold on. Yeah, you're the.
Hey, babe.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm in the car now. I'm on my way. Okay. Yeah, of course. No, I didn't forget. Okay. All right, bye. Yeah. I gotta go, but same time tomorrow, yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm coming, babe.
Okay, so those are just two of the many campaign videos that we completed. We were up for an Emmy from the Pacific Southwest chapter. We didn't win, unfortunately, in our category, but there's always next time. But we do have other news. We were up for a Telly Award, which I was assured is maybe even a bigger honor because they have over 12,000 entries from all 50 states and 5 continents. And so we won a gold in the non-broadcast general public relations category and a silver in the non-broadcast general social responsibility category for the Telly Awards. So we're excited for that. And I think this is really a testament for doing something different and creative, and we were really excited to work on it. So thank you.
Thank you. This just shows the kind of thinking and innovation and work that our staff does. And I want to thank and compliment everybody who was involved in this. And I think it's significant. This was staff-originated, staff-driven. We signed some checks, but it was not something that came from the board. It came from our staff, and you make us look really good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Grace. That concludes my report.
Okay.
So,
I
should we
believe
go to our
presentation
presentation?
has arrived.
Bianca, are you gonna
All
do
here?
the introduction, or Candy?
Sure. So we have Paws of Love with us today. This is their second day at Western this week. So they were at our operations facility on Monday and got to visit with some of our operations field staff there. So we're fortunate to have 5 dogs on site today that are going to be visiting with our staff. So Paws of Love does therapy and training for dogs. So we have 5 visitors. We welcome the board to come interact if we'd like any pictures. I know Director Denstead, you have something to offer the Paws of Love?
Absolutely, I do. So it is certainly, we're super excited to have you here. As you can tell, I hate dogs. You'll see that in a minute, okay? And our staff have been so appreciative of everything that you do for our organization. And dogs bring such a stress relief. They have so many things to give us. They're our life witnesses, and they're parts of our family. And so we really appreciate everything that you guys bring to this. So I was the recipient of a charity award drawing for $500, which I have named to give to you.
Or
One, the board may want to go down and take a
want me to
picture
talk
while they're
here?
here.
So we are,
Introduce yourself, please.
my name is Kelly Morgan. I run the group from here. Donna Shaver started the group, and she's actually she retired and moved to New Mexico. So she schedules all our visits, but I run the group from here. Our dogs, they go through a 5-week course, and I teach that. And they just need to pass their canine good citizen. And it's, basic: sit, stay, come, wait. They need to be good with all people of all ages. We go to daycares with infants all the way up to senior homes. Some of us do hospice care, and we go to libraries and the kids read to the dogs. We go to several senior homes once a month. And what else do we do? Oh, we go to colleges when they're during finals for stress relief. And yeah, we have about 20 dogs in the group. Unfortunately, none of our big dogs were available to come today. Monday, one of our golden retrievers came, but she had to go out of town. So, but yeah, we've got
vacation.
River. We've got Sunny with the pink leash and her brother River, and they are papillons, which means butterfly in Spanish. So, well, mariposa I think is butterfly, but it means like their ears look kind of like butterflies. And then we have 3 Maltipoos. We have Gumbo, who is a senior, and he's actually deaf. And we have Paisley, who's mine, and she'll be 5 in September, and she's a Maltipoo as well. And then we have Kisses, who is a special needs dog. She was born without a bone in her right hand. She doesn't have a bone or a paw. So she hops instead of walking. But she doesn't know any different, and she's named Kisses because that's all she wants to do. But we love our dogs, and you guys have any questions?
I do, just one.
Yes.
How did the organization start?
It actually started with a Catholic nun. She was very into dogs, and she thought about starting this group. And so she reached out to Donna, and together they started Paws of Love, and it was like hyphen Pathways to Hope. We are affiliated with a dog group that does training in prison. So prisoners that aren't like big offenders, they get to take care of dogs and make them service dogs. So these dogs live in the prison. They serve, these prisoners, teach them everything, and they become amazing. They go out in the world and, do great things. And we've had a few that we thought were going to one family, and then this dog just didn't jive. We had a little boy that had autism, and one of our dogs that's in the group now was supposed to be his service dog. And he had this tick, and he'd always jump and make these noises, and she was so scared. And so they're like, this isn't gonna work out. So one of our members adopted her because her husband needed a service dog, and she's perfect. But they found a doodle that as soon as they introduced him to this child, the child's jumping, so the doodle's like, okay, I'll jump. It stopped that tick that this child had, and the parents are like, if this is the only thing the dog ever does for us, he did his job.
Wow.
So it was amazing. But yeah, it's a great program. We're all volunteers. We obviously love dogs, and I train, mostly dogs that want to be therapy dogs. I've done a few service dogs. I'm trying to get more training under my belt, where Donna, who's in New Mexico, has trained probably 5,000 service dogs. She's an amazing, amazing trainer, and I was lucky to apprentice under her. But yeah, it's a good group, and Mello, look at how Kisses sits. That's like her way to say, so cute. Huh, you're such a good girl. Yeah. But yeah, feel free, we can bring them
Yeah,
up.
can we come down and get a picture with you?
Of course,
Okay.
yeah. They're all super friendly, no biting, we try to have no barking, but every now and then.
I just got several kisses, so.
Oh, yes.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
She's a total lover, and, well, River
do
is
one
too.
too?
You just say besitos, so. Huh, and Paisley, you love
So,
the kisses too.
so this is NAWAP is part of the commercial real estate developers, and they have money that they look for organizations, and they find us to say, who is it that you would like to be a part of it? And since you have given so much to our organization, I want to give back to
We
yours.
appreciate that
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
So thank you for everything that you do.
Yes, huh. We'll have to get a picture of, maybe you can hold one of them, and I'll get you holding them, and hold your check up too.
Let's
Here for a
We're
photo?
gonna do.
Okay, everybody, okay.
Yeah, everybody. Yay.
Who would you like to hold?
Come here, baby. Come here, I got you. Oh, and her little thing matches you.
Can we just step back like just a little bit so I can get you all in? Yes, kisses.
Nice job today, Justin. Got it. I think you're on your own now. It's good. We'll make a good team. Always.
Makes me miss my doggy.
Yeah, I'll be in trouble when I get home. My dogs are gonna say,
Oh, they're
who have
gonna
you been
say-
cheating with?
So funny. Yeah, we had to put our dog down during fairly early part of COVID, and
That's always hard.
I want to get it's awful. I want to get another dog, but I'm gone so much that I just feel like bringing
Yeah.
on a new, if I
Okay, guys, can we reconvene, please? Okay.
And as we're reconvening, I want to thank Bianca for pulling this all together. This is part of their full service providing for our employees, and it's really nice that our HR staff thinks that we should do nice things for our employees to relax them and make them enjoy their day. So thank you very much for coming.
And
Thank
now
you
we're
all
going to
for
go
coming.
take the show on the road to all of the employees.
Great.
A good day for them. Walk the dog and got $500.
Okay, Mr. Miller, did that conclude your reports.
Oh, I concluded before they were there, except if you're going to reopen that, I was talking to Grace and I said, where's our statue for the Tellys? So we're actually working on that, so we will have something, but also Micah's not here. I think Micah's on vacation today, or he would be here, but Grace and Micah were the actual nominees for the Emmy, and they deserve a lot of credit for putting the whole thing together. I'll claim credit because I hired both of them, and that's about where my input stops. So this is just that team wanting to overachieve and do what's right for Western, and so my hat's off to them. They do a great job. Now
Outstanding.
I'm done.
Thank you. Okay, you're sure? Great job. Great job. Okay, brings us to other reports, starting with SAPA. SAPA met yesterday and issued some contracts for support for some of the working groups. That's just ongoing support. It was time to renew the contracts. And the PA 24 committee, which is the Brine Line Committee, met and signed a contract for, much similar to the contracts we just authorized today, for on-call service in case of emergency or need to drain the brine line or those kinds of things. And that was it for SAPA. Metropolitan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we had our regular board meeting, and I was named to the Equity, Inclusion, and Affordability Committee. President and I had a meeting with the chair of MET to talk about low-income assistance and water affordability and what our program has done. So I understand that a survey is kind of going out to see how many member agencies actually have these programs in place or their subsets, to see if we can provide additional ways to be able to make that happen. So happy to help with that angle and making low-income assistance available to folks of how we have certainly accomplished it. Our program has been very successful over many, many years now, and so I think a lot of people are trying to now copy us, which is one of the highest forms of flattery we could have, right? So super excited about that. Also went on the State Water Project tour with fellow director John Morris from San Marino, the city of San Marino, and was a really, really good group. We had a lot of interaction. Director Roten also attended that, along with General Manager, and Sarah also attended that. So, and Michael, thank you. I've gotten nothing but positive feedback for you, for everything that you did for making sure that we were set. The only complaint that I had from the entire group, especially the ladies, was the fact that we need to put a disclaimer on the notices going out for instructions that you need to drop 5 pounds before you go on this trip because of how they feed you. So there was definitely some good food that was offered, some wonderful restaurants, and probably one of the most interesting things that I had the opportunity to see for the very first time was to go down to the ag part of it and talk to one of the ranchers and one of the farmers down there. And he was so incredibly gracious and informative and talked about all of their challenges that they have up there and everything that went on. And I could have stayed there all day to sit and listen to him and talk about his production and all of the things that they do to save water and the tremendous amount of effort that they put into it to do the production that they do to make our economy one of the largest in the world for ag and imports and exports. And it's just amazing to me. So, and we were actually out there acting like little kids. We got to pick cherries off of the tree that they had out there that were harvested, and the cherries that were left over that the machine didn't get. So super exciting to see and watch everybody just kind of had their farm day experience and being on that tour. So Director Roten, I didn't know if you had anything that you wanted to add at this point, or if you wanted to wait for your comments to talk about what your experience was. Okay. All right, no worries. And then I have an opportunity next week to go on the desert housing trip, so I'm going to venture out on the plane, Met's housing trip. No, not going to look at housing in the desert. We're going actually to go out there to the remote sites out at Iron Mountain and out at Gene Camp to look at some of the challenges that staff has at Metropolitan for the housing issues and what the contractors are experiencing and how we're getting all of that done. So that will be an interesting day trip that I'm looking forward to seeing those facilities and what it is that we are doing for all of the desert folks, because they are so remote, and it is it's definitely a unique experience to be part of those crews. I understand there's like 142 individuals out there, so something around there. So it's going to be one of those things to experience. And with that, I will conclude my comments for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chino Basin Water Master will meet tomorrow. And I think, Director Roten, when we get to your comments, you can do the committee, or you can do it now. Take your pick.
Well, I'll do it now since it's kind of relating to it. So I'm the recent addition to the representative for the advisory committee for Chino Basin. And it's an interesting committee that I'm still trying to figure out, but it appears, so they have the pool meetings, which I'm normally not able to attend because I just have conflicts. It's the same Thursday as like 2 or 3 other meetings that I have. So when then it goes from the pools, the information goes from the pools to the advisory committee, and it's pretty much rubber stamped. It's like, okay, well, we heard this in the pools, so is everybody okay with that? Okay, move on. So coming into the advisory without having been able to attend the pool meetings, I've just at this point been listening. But I'm going to do a better job of really perusing the agenda packet, because I know that those written reports are attached to that for advisory, and I have not done that. So that is my plan, to hopefully be able to be more effective, and we're a non-voting member too, so you know, I don't think I'm expected to give a lot of input, but certainly if there are questions, I'll feel more comfortable asking with a better review of the agenda. So all of that to say, there was one new report which was given by IEUA, and it was for their Met member update, and there was a really good PowerPoint that came with that. So that was very informative, and that's really it.
Okay.
For that.
Great. Don't turn your mic off because you get to CDA.
Oh, no, the meeting is not until July 6th, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so no meeting yet.
Rikra.
They will meet in September, so they're off for the summer.
Okay. WRCOG.
WRCOG just reported on last meeting, but just as a reminder, we have General Assembly coming up on June the 29th, and we do have a table.
Okay. Sarah.
Yes. We met last week. We had a few items. There was approval of the revision of the investment policy, which there was the revision to the existing investment policy will allow other investment types that could earn higher interest rates. So we all approved that. There was a presentation about Santa Rosa Water Reclamation Facilities post-rehabilitation treatment. And the project is just amazing. The process improvement they showed was amazing. I would share that presentation with the board, with Tammy, so she can share it with the board. So that was great. We approved, I think we approved the 5-year capital project plan, and we had the approval of the fiscal year operating budget. There was an increase of $770,000. That was labor, energy, material costs. So everybody was okay with that. We approved that. And then there was another item considering the amending the conflict of interest code. and everybody was okay with that. That was a requirement from the FPPC.
Great,
That's about it.
thank you. Aqua Region 9 representative.
Yes, so we have a meeting scheduled in July for the board, and there are several tours that are being offered right now, so check your emails. I believe those have all been sent out, so if you're interested in joining any of one of those tours, you're certainly welcome to attend it. Several different regions are offering those different tours of different facilities, different things to look at, so I know they've got one going to Carlsbad, and I know they've got, I think it's Central Basin that's got another one coming up here pretty quick, so otherwise, I will report on our board meeting function coming up in July.
Great, thank you. Director's comments. We'll start at your end, Director Denstedt.
Thank you. So had several things going on. Able to meet with the fire department down in Marietta, so that was a really nice meeting to have. General manager, assistant general manager, and government affairs went down there, so I think we had a really great meeting. He's been in place, fire chief has been in place for about a year now, so happy to sit down and have that conversation and have our partnership with him. So great meeting. Went to the State of the City for Marietta as well, so really super excited to see that the Marietta Hot Springs project is kicking off and they're going to be opening in the fall. So that will be a really destination place, and it's going to be a world-class facility, so I'm really excited to see that open up. I attended the Father's Day car show, which always is an interesting event, and I wanted to wish all of our dads a belated Happy Father's Day. So, and 4th of July is coming up too, so happy 4th of July, everybody. I hope it's a safe holiday for you to enjoy with your families, and hopefully you get to barbecue. And that is all I have today, Mr. President. Thank you.
Great. Director Rizvi.
Just happy first day of summer. Today is the summer solstice, and that's about it. Happy 4th of July to everybody.
Okay. Director Torres.
No comments.
Director Roden.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that. I guess we don't meet again until after July 4.
Right.
So, yeah, so happy that. I have my, I'm not matching with my outfit, but I do have my July 4th bag with me today, so that's always a fun one. If you can get past the fireworks that are going off already in Aruba Valley in the evening. But I just wanted to thank Director Denstedt for being able to include me on the Delta Ag Tour. It is a tour that I have wanted to go on for literally for years. I did the Colorado River Aqueduct probably 7-ish years ago, 6 or 7. And so it's like once you get a taste for it, you know, it's like, yeah, I want to do the other one now. So I really, really appreciated being able, I know the space is very limited on those. And hard to pick what was my favorite thing, but I would say that what really stood out was seeing Oroville full to spilling. And not that I've seen it empty, but the pictures that I've seen, and then remembering back when the dam crumbled and the spillway crumbled, and having to rebuild all of that and seeing the finished product, that was just, it was just amazing. It really does give you a different, a little bit more enriched perspective when you can see the things that actually in person. So the San Luis Reservoir was also interesting, and that was full to brim. You know, it's just so encouraging that there is this overabundance this year of water. And I feel like people are still keeping the conversation alive of the importance of more storage, so that when we do have these years when things can fill up, we have more opportunities to do that. So I'm glad to hear that in the conversation. The Ag Day, I don't know what it is about ag, and I look back in my life and think, what has been the draw for me with ag. I seem to have this special place in my heart for farming. And the only things I can really think of is my dad always had a garden, like a big garden. And then when I went to Cal Poly, way back in the day, I think I mentioned I took a summer school course, vegetable crop production, and I grew green beans. And I was in this class with a lot of agricultural folks. And I would go out as the sun was going down, the golden hour, and water my green beans and just sit there and marvel at how things grow. And I think that that has just kind of carried over into it. Farmers provide just such a, I mean, we can't, just like we can't live without water, we really can't live without farmers. And the importance of that, and then to see them on a large scale, like the farm that we visited, what they deal with challenge-wise, whether it happens to be weather or pestilence, or maybe they have a really great year and everything goes okay, they're constantly at work and they're producing for us. And it just, that was really interesting and inspiring to visit that farm. And I felt the same way, and I think I mentioned this in the past, that I was able to visit an organic farm up in the Salinas area maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and met with that farmer. And his passion for growing food and teaching others how to grow food was just incredible. So it's just, I don't know what it is about it that just moves me so much, but that was the whole trip was great, but that was definitely a highlight as well. And then getting to know others in the water industry and hearing their experiences and their backgrounds. And then there were some folks that were on there that had no water background. So they were like wide-eyed the whole time and trying to take it all in. So it was done very well. And thank you, Michael, for all of the organizational parts of it that you were responsible for. So, yeah, thank you. I wish it was something that was offered so often that you could do it like multiple times, but I know it isn't. So I'm just grateful to have been able to go. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. Couple of things from me. Monday was Juneteenth, which is a really important day in American history, and most of us don't know much about it, and we really should. It was the day that the last of the former slaves learned that they had been emancipated. It occurred after the end of the Civil War, and it was almost 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation that the announcement was made in Galveston, Texas, that the slaves were no longer slaves and they were free. So an important date in our country's history. On the subject of holidays, it was mentioned that 4th of July is coming up. City of Riverside has finally moved their fireworks show back to the top of Mount Rubidoux. So Arupa Valley will get a free show. It is one of the better shows around just because it is from the top of the tallest hill around. And then associated with that, the historic Evergreen Memorial Cemetery, where many of Riverside's founding fathers are interred, will have what they call front row fireworks. You go sit in the cemetery and have a really good view of the fireworks. It's a significant fundraiser for them, so if anybody's interested, that's a good place to go and take family. Well 7 work is ongoing. There is water on and off in the gutter. We've not had the big flows yet, but our outreach effort has been successful. I've gotten a couple of calls and comments from people about, oh, there's the water you said was coming. So it's going well. And then the last thing, on a personal note, next Thursday, the 29th, is my wife Joyce and my 50th anniversary. So we will have been married longer than several people in this room have been alive.
Yes. Yep.
So Why she's put up with me all these years, I have no idea at all, but I'm very grateful. And with that, are there requests for future agenda items? Seeing none, we do have a closed session. Mr. Ballinger, will you make the announcement, please,
Yes,
sir?
the board will be going into closed session to discuss the three items, one pending litigation, as well as a performance evaluation and labor negotiations as identified on the agenda. I don't anticipate any report out, but, or reportable action, but we will be reporting out after that closed session.
Thank you. Maybe begin the closed session in 5 minutes in case anybody needs a quick break. Thank you.
Two things to sign for you, sir. Gonna do something?
Steve, can you hear me?
I can. Hello, hello.
Yes. Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We need to transfer the control to the closed session room.
Why don't you take that one? Yeah. Sure. Yeah, are we gonna have somebody on Zoom? Nobody currently is around. I don't see any current lawyers in the Zoom call.
Steve or Justin, can you transfer the host to the subsessions? Two dogs.
Yeah, I don't currently see anybody on the Zoom call from an outside agency. We don't need to change anything on Zoom if nobody's going to join into the room.
Recording stopped. Action. I notice I need to stand back a little bit from the podium. Otherwise you'll just see my tie. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we have returned from closed session. Mr. Attorney, whichever attorney is going to give the report?
Thank you, Mr. President. There's no reportable action from today's closed session. Direction was given to the district's labor negotiator.
And with regard to the anticipated litigation item, the board did vote 5-0 to initiate litigation. The identity of the parties will be made public once the defendants have been served.
Great. Thank you. And with that, we will be adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.